Formula One returns this weekend down under. That's right. We make our picks for the 2026 Australian Grand Prix next, right here on the Backroad.
I don't drive a Monte Carlo, and my truck ain't painted black. It ain't got a big white number 3 turning left around the track.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into our bonus edition of the Backroad for the week, where we're going to be talking some Formula One as F1 gets rolling again for the 2026 season at the Australian Grand Prix. Elliot Hicks and Seth Woolcock here to break it all down. I mean, it's NASCAR is obviously our main drag here, but Formula One, I've become really excited for the season. It's been something I've picked up a lot the last couple of years, and I'm really looking forward to getting 2026 started with you, Seth.
Yeah, Elliot, you've been putting in the good work the last few seasons, really trying to understand this discipline of open wheel racing. And I got to say, man, it was a big boon for myself and the betting card down the stretch last season. So hoping we can pick up where things left off. But this really feels like one of those races we've touched on in the past. Sometimes when we go to the super speedways in NASCAR, very, very difficult to handicap. It's almost anyone's race out there, but excited to break it down nonetheless. And get back into the F1 action with you on the betting cards.
Yeah, there have been a lot of changes this year for Formula One. A brand new car debuting for all the teams. Rod and I over the winter, Rod Villagomez and myself, we broke it all down, gave some season-long bets out and some season-long previews. You can go find that on the In-Between channel as well as the Backroad channel, which if you are here, if you're watching this, you're already here, _Backroad. We appreciate you doing that and appreciate you sharing that with everybody. And hey, we talk some F1 as well over in the IBT Racing family. Our guy, Robbie Vegas over there, I believe his name is, and myself throwing out some season-long bets over there in the betting card. That is a premium benefit, $3.99 a month or $36 for the year to catch our full weekly betting cards, to enter memorabilia giveaways, and to come and chat. That is free, though, so looking forward to seeing you over there. And, hey, man, are we going to include F1 matchups in our little head-to-head contest, or are we keeping that to the stock cars?
Just stock cars. I will say I do need to get on the right side of some open-wheeled matchups. Got my heart ripped out. Kyle Kirkwood gave me a big sweater against Scott McLaughlin last week down there in St. Pete. You, of course, had a Kyle Kirkwood matchup that I believe did hit. It was a sweater too, kind of at the very end, but yeah. So need to bounce back after that heartbreak and losing a couple units there.
Well, F1 is just the place to do it. We'll break down the track and get things rolling in the Horizon Forecast. Thankfully, as far as I've heard, not a lot of rain in the forecast, at least not that I've read yet. Last year, that definitely affected things. But the Australian GP, the track is a lot of fun. 14 corners. They're going to run 58 laps around this track down under, Seth.
Yeah, this is one of those tracks on public roads, notoriously known for its low grip. So these drivers will be slip sliding around. How many times have we seen this race happen, Ellie? And it feels like traditionally, you might get one big wreck within the first lap, and chaos to anyone who's kind of fighting back with the squirrels could ensue quickly. But then once we get past there, it's generally pretty straightforward for the most part, although we do have some new additions coming in 2026, along with some tires that could really mix things up, I think, this weekend, Elliot.
Yeah, so it looks like Pirelli is going to use their softest blended compounds for the weekend. The C3 is the hard, C4 is the medium, C5 for the soft, and again, hoping we don't need the inters or the wets for sure. Seth, obviously, some of the new things coming in F1 in 2026 are the new, it used to be called DRS. That has changed a little bit this year, as well as a special overtake spot as well on the track, as far as I understand it.
Yeah, it should be very interesting, both from an active aero straight mode standpoint, and then with this overtaking zone, like Elliot, kind of my big beef sometimes with the F1 is just, hey, there's not a lot of passing, but I think here now with this overtaking zone, an activation line located between turns 13 and 14, providing a power boost for the following lap could mean something as far as getting a little bit of a run going and not just being stuck behind the driver playing a little follow leader out there in Melbourne.
Yeah, no doubt about it. This is one of those races that here stateside, if you're a night owl, you're going to love it. Everything taking place in prime time late in the evening. You can catch the race Saturday, March the 7th at 11 p.m. Eastern here, so that you can convert that through the time zones. Qualifying, I know, is going to be right at midnight on March the 7th, so the night of March the 6th if you're a little further west there on the West Coast. F1 TV, ESPN, kind of no longer a thing. F1 exclusive to Apple TV. We've seen MLS go exclusive to Apple TV. I don't know if you have any thoughts on F1 moving in this direction as well.
Yeah, not a huge fan, if I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think I need another streaming service. This is one that, even though I've gotten the 3-month like Apple free activation thing when I bought a new iPhone or a new Mac, never done it. Never really felt like I need to get on there. I know there's that, I think The Wire, which is a pretty good show. So I will be buying it. Like, that's kind of where we are at this point. Like, hook, line, and sinker, they got me. But I would prefer it not to be. Like, can it just be on YouTube TV? Can it be on any of the million channels on cable or Peacock? They're kind of making a run right now, as well as Paramount Plus. So kind of bummed out about it. But this is streaming and being a sports fan in 2026, my friend.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We'll see how that affects presentation and things like that. It'll be exciting to watch, along with a lot of our main storylines for the season. The first one here, Lando Norris, the World Drivers' Champion in 2025. It does seem like McLaren no longer the best car on the circuit. Do you think Lando has a shot at going back-to-back?
I think he does. I think he absolutely does. Like, from what we're seeing from the tea leaves that we're reading right now is that the books do not believe it, right? They think Russell and gang are just going to be absolutely fast coming out here. And then we're also going to see Ferrari get a bump. I don't want to count out Lando Norris, though. This is a guy who he was top 4 in like nearly, I think, 85% of the races last season. Really put together a strong finish after his teammate Oscar Piastri kind of looked like he might be running away with it early. So really excited to see how these guys can battle back and forth. I don't think they're dead in the water, but I do think it might be a bigger uphill climb than we initially thought, maybe 6 to 8 months ago.
Yeah, McLaren definitely no longer the cream of the crop, at least all by themselves. The rumor is, of course, we only have a little bit of testing to go off of. Yeah. We still haven't gotten to race mode yet. But George Russell, Kimi Antonelli, and Mercedes, that car, the favorite to be the fastest out there. We know Lando and Oscar are talented. We know there's Max Verstappen. We'll talk about him in a second. But with Russell and Antonelli, do you think this year it's theirs to lose? They're the team to beat?
I'll tell you what, man. Kimi Antonelli was a guy I know you and Rod, big fans of last season, gambled on him quite a bit. And it really felt like you kind of found a sweet spot with him. And based on the speed they were showing kind of this offseason, it looks like it is their season. But we've seen this before, at least in my mind, where one of these teams, whether it be Red Bull back in the day or, different teams, there usually is some hype coming in sometimes. And I just don't know if I'm going to believe it. Like, it's more one of those things, like, I kind of want to see it before I believe it, or at least bet on it, those numbers. Like, the numbers they're showing this week, I don't think there's much value in. I think you found maybe an interesting way to get invested with that team, but from an outright and a placement prop standpoint, I'm just going to kind of fade them, and I think that's what most gamblers have to do at this point until we see it.
Yeah, it's really tough until we get out there, get a couple of races under our belt. So McLaren's good, Mercedes is good. Red Bull, I don't know about them, but they still have Max Verstappen, who still kept himself in the WDC fight until the last day last season. Still won a boatload of races, and by all accounts, still the same Max Verstappen that we've seen. What's kind of his next move? Do you think we see him stay in the hunt, and will that car to good finishes? They're moving to Ford Power this season. I don't know. What's Max Verstappen's next move here in the next era of Formula One?
I mean, this is a tough one, right? Because I would think, like, honestly, if he's not at Red Bull, he hangs it up. Like, just because, like, what else do you have to accomplish at this point? Like, go do some Indy starts, go do hopefully some NASCAR Cup Series starts at some point. I mean, that's a pipe dream, right? But I mean, based on how he finished that season, I mean, Elliot, it was a pretty bad. I think we were 13, 14, 15 races into the season last year, and Max Verstappen had like 2 wins. Then he goes on this run down the stretch, where I think he wins 6 of the last 8. So that was super impressive how he was able to kind of pick the pieces back together, get himself back into that title hunt after a slow start. So I'm never going to discount Max Verstappen. And for all the crud we kind of gave Red Bull last season, we saw the Racing Bulls really kind of step up. I was impressed with what Max Verstappen and the speed he found in this equipment down the stretch. Will it be another slow start? That's the big question to me. But I think at some point, Max starts once again chipping out victories time and time again. I just think it's a matter of how long and when do we expect that to start.
Yeah, I agree that I think he's going to be able to just will some cars to victory when, they're not quite. It almost, to liken it to a stock car analogy, almost like late stage Kevin Harvick at Stewart Haas Racing, where the team wasn't running so well. The other drivers, but the talent that Max Verstappen has can still will those cars to victory. We'll see how it works out for them. We know that him jumping ship is on the table in future years here. If the Red Bull isn't quite up to standards, that'll be one to follow all season. And one more here, the old vets over at Cadillac, the old Mario Andretti Cadillac chassis, naming it after Andretti, but they wouldn't let Andretti run it themselves. It has to be Cadillac. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. They got 2 of the wily old vets in there, guys with a lot of F1 experience, a fair bit of F1 wins as well. Sergio Perez, good old Checo, is back. So is Valtteri Bottas. Couple of fan favorites, couple of guys who know how to wheel an F1 car. Is there any expectation for these guys this year?
Not really, to be honest. They're another team that, like, if you could find head-to-head most of the head-to-head matchups I've found this week, for the most part, are teammate head-to-heads, which I don't really want to get invested with. But if there's an opportunity, whether it's this week here in Australia or whether it's in the future, I know we're going to China here in just a couple of weeks, and you can fade these guys in head-to-head matchups, or not to finish inside the top 10, whatever it may be, that's where I would look to go. It just feels like usually, Elliot, we've seen it really across discipline. I mean, you're seeing a little bit now in the NASCAR Cup Series or Truck Series now with Ram kind of coming back in, that sometimes it just takes a while to get these new manufacturers up to par. I mean, we heard, I about had my jaw drop on the floor when I heard that Ram doesn't even have any simulation for their drivers over in the Truck Series, and with drivers like Justin Haley going into St. Pete blind last weekend, that was pretty off-putting, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I don't think Cadillac is quite that far in the Stone Age, but definitely
I hope not.
A little behind. Again, though, they've got 2 guys that really know how to wheel an F1 car. They'll be able to figure it out by the end of the year. Are they going to contend for podiums or wins? I think that is a bridge too far. But you're going to see these guys have a few good runs. They're guys who know how to wheel an F1 car and can really set this team up for a long and bright future in F1.
Yeah, I'm excited Sergio is back. Honestly, it's one of those things, though. His last stint wasn't that great either. So, to me, it's just a fade the whole way around. If there was a market out there, Elliot, I'd be curious to know, if you could bet, this Cadillac team to not have any podiums the whole year, what number would you need to be to place that?
Man, I don't even know.
24 races.
That's such an off-the-wall market. I don't even know where to start with the numbers, but there are definitely some teams that I would think about it more than Cadillac, which is one of the 2 or 3 that it's pretty clear a podium is probably a bridge too far this year.
It also feels too, are these F1, I don't want to call them schmucks, but, floozies, if you would, these upscale contenders in this sport, the people who've, made their mark on Formula One racing, are they really going to let Americans at this, juncture come in and just start dominating the sport or even contending? I don't think so. I think it's going to be a big uphill battle, as we've seen just from drivers of that nationality for the most part as well.
It'll be fun to watch all season long. For the record, I do have a season-long bet on Bottas over Perez, -113, I think that number was. Still on Bet365 as far as I know. One of the more interesting matchups. You have, your Verstappen is -3,000 to beat Hadjar. Right. That might be the only one that is a toss-up. I'm going Bottas, but we're not really looking at them this weekend, though. Let's take a look at who we are looking at for the Australian GP in the Parking Garage props. One thing that I do want to note and discuss a little bit before we get into the props is that there are some markets out there, and F1's got a lot of fun markets, but some of them, such as first car to retire, first car to make a pit stop, those sort of things, I've noticed they're not available. And when you read into it, it's because Aston Martin, Fernando Alonso, and Lance Stroll, they're expecting big issues this weekend. They're not expected to even run all the laps in the race. They have major stability issues, major electronic issues, and apparently major vibration issues, to the point where Fernando Alonso estimates he can drive about 25 laps, Lance Stroll 15 laps, before permanent nerve damage could be on the table for these guys. Of course, new car, going to work well for some teams. Aston Martin, though, clearly has not figured it out, and time is running out, and it's going to really kill their first race weekend of the year, it sounds like.
Yeah, this is one of those situations, man, where, I know us NASCAR Cup Series fans usually complain about the next gen car, but like, this is the situation you won't have in NASCAR, right? Because we're all kind of under this equal playing field. To see one team, even one that's been around as long as Aston Martin, really have these struggles out of the gate this severe, just one more thing, right? One more thing that you don't want to be caught with one of your drivers who happen to qualify bad or put themselves back in a squirrel nest maybe after an early pit stop and run into one of these guys who's, kind of just living on a prayer out there, Bon Jovi style, Elliot.
Yeah, I mean, Aston Martin over the winter was one of those teams where we were expecting to get a big jump. I mean, Fernando Alonso is a former champion. Lance Stroll has put out some respectable finishes in his time in Formula One. But yeah, it's crazy on the stock car side. Like, imagine Front Row Motorsports just shows up to Daytona and is like, yeah, we're not ready. We're going to run a third of the laps and pull it in. It's really crazy, but certainly hoping that they can get that worked out, because these are two guys that I do want to see on the grid and that can provide some fun and some value at times. You mentioned about some value for Mercedes this weekend. I'm going for a pole bet on Kimi Antonelli plus 750 via Caesars. The Mercedes cars are going to be fast. We saw last year this kid has some raw speed. Wasn't able to get a pole or a race win last year. Russell got a couple. He's obviously the veteran driver there. But we know the kid's got raw speed. He's got a full year under his belt. We saw some, I don't know if he got a podium finish, got a couple podium starts, had a pretty solid rookie season in this Mercedes car. Car is getting better. He's getting more experience. I think he opens up the season starting right at the front.
Yeah, I don't hate the play at all here, especially like, do I want to take Kimi Antonelli at his current numbers to win this race or even really for a placement prop? No, I don't. But do I want to maybe potentially cash in on a kid who really took, was there anyone more impressive last year, Elliot, from just like an improvement and like overall standpoint from what we were expecting coming in? I don't think so. I know you and Rod had a lot of Antonelli bets throughout the season that were continuing to build that bankroll. So I think it's a nice way. Take a little sprinkle, a quarter, half unit sprinkle on a little pull bet for Antonelli. I don't hate it at all.
So we know Mercedes will be fast. We're expecting McLaren to be fast. We've got a few McLaren bets. We'll start with yours on the reigning World Drivers' Champion.
Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and take a shot on Lando Norris, top 4 finish, 2-1 here at DraftKings, half a unit for me. And I just love this bet, Elliot, because like to me, I think DraftKings just is very, very generous with this number, because most books you shop around for a podium finish for Lando Norris, it's coming in at this 2-1 number. So if you wanted to bet just the podium at DraftKings, I think you can get around plus 260 on it. But why not just take that 2-1 number and bring it out here to a top 4 finish? You look at what Lando has done at this track. He won last season and has had an 3.75 average finish at this track since it returned post-COVID. So I really like that. So, it's in his average. And then also at the same time, like, this is something he did 20 out of 24 times a season ago, 83.3% of the time, including 6 of the last 7 races. So Lando Norris, top 4 finish. It's the best number we're probably going to see all season long on it. So, yeah, I'll take a little stab at it.
Yeah, I like Lando here for sure. I like his teammate, though, Oscar Piastri, a little better. And a top 4, pretty good bet, though, on Lando. We'll say Oscar Piastri gets it to the podium. That's a plus 320 via Caesars. It was Lando and Oscar neck and neck here last year in the rain. Oscar gets caught in the wet, slides the car into the grass, ends up without the finish that he probably deserved at his home track. And he's a guy, like you said, the first half of the year, even 2/3 of the year, thought he was really going to have a shot at that World Drivers' Championship. Really showed that he and Lando are more neck and neck than people thought. Of course, Lando goes and ends up winning the championship. Oscar, I kind of like him a little better this year if McLaren is still going to have that speed. I have a couple season longs on Oscar, including to win 3 or more races and to finish over Lando. Of course, I'm going to have to wait all year for those ones. This one, though, Oscar at the very least locking down a podium when he's at home down under, something that I am very optimistic about heading into the weekend.
Yeah, it feels like for whatever reason, F1 really has these storylines, and when it does, they do come to fruition more than like in NASCAR, right? Like, I mean, how many times has bad Brad Keselowski try to go out there and win multiple times at his home track, and he just can't? But it seems like in F1, it happens more often than not. So I don't hate the podium finish there at plus 320. I actually saw a top six there for Oscar Piastri, floating around minus 165, I think, at DK, which I thought wasn't a bad number either. The finishes aren't there, right? The trends aren't really going to support you at this track so far, but he's had the speed. He made the mistake. The team made the mistake last year in the weather. But I like it so much, Elliot, that I'm going to take a McLaren double top 10 finish here, minus 250 at the score bet for 1.5 units here. And like, usually I will not normally drink a stiff glass of juice this strong, right? But it's just the fact that, like, I think the books are just being a little too liberal with what they're posting McLaren at right now. And I've seen this down to 3-1. So I really like it at minus 250. You want to parlay it with something maybe in the NASCAR, or we got IndyCar out there in Phoenix this weekend as well. I'm fine with that. This bet, though, hit 87.5% of the time last year. And that includes out in Australia, where we had Oscar struggle, right, in that spot, but he still finished top 10. So I think someone would have to go disastrously wrong for this not to hit. And I just think the 87.5% of the time this cash last season is a lot better than the implied odds at 71.43%. Coming in at this number of minus 250. So you're getting value there. And like, even if Mercedes and Ferrari take this jump that the books and most F1 handicappers are expecting, and Max stays doing Max things, that's 5 spots left in the top 10 for McLaren. So I'm definitely in it here for Oscar. Started second again before that hit the fan last year, and then still has an average finish at Melbourne of 7.7. So I'm locked in here on both McLarens for that double top 10 finish. I don't think we'll ever see this number this good again. I mean, this is what you're paying for podium finishes for both of them last year at one point.
Yeah, I really like this number for sure. McLaren, one of those teams, unless there is an issue, going to be a lock for that double top 10. I'm going a little further out on a limb here in the mid-pack. I'm having faith in both of the Haas cars to finish in the top 10. This is at plus 333 over on Bet365. And when you look at the mid-pack, of course, we know both of your Mercedes, both of your McLarens, maybe both of your Ferraris, definitely Max Verstappen, maybe Isaac Hadjar. They're all more than likely for the top 10. But when you start to get into the mid-pack here, we got V-Carb, we have a rookie, Liam Lawson's back and forth. I know it's close to his home track too. We know Aston Martin's not even going to be able to run the full race. We know Cadillac is probably not a factor.
Good point.
Audi under new sort of ownership structure there. Don't know quite how that's going to work for Hülkenberg and Bortoleto. Alpine is Alpine. They were really rough last year. It's kind of Williams and Haas is that upper mid-tier. Haas really took a jump last year with Esteban Ocon and Oliver Behrman. Ran better than we thought at some points last year, and they were able to keep that stability. We know Toyota's investing more into the Haas team, and that's only a good thing. We know how well Toyota runs in other motorsports disciplines around the world.
Yeah.
For them kind of taking Haas under their wing can really only help them. I've got faith in these guys for the year. They're going to probably be more than likely top 10 bets for me, if not even a top 6 in their good weeks to try to get some value out of the year. Let's go ahead and kick it off here with the double top 10 down under.
Hey, man, this is actually a really smart bet, Elliot, because of what you mentioned right at the top there. Well, we can roll out Cadillac. Well, we can roll out Lance Stroll and company as well, right? And honestly, like, Williams last year, while they had some speed, like, there were different points, I think, at Melbourne where they really disappointed me for the betting card. So I want to kind of avoid them, fade them this week. And dude, you know how I feel about Esteban Ocon. This guy's hit me long shot top 10s. He's hit me long shot top 6s before. I've drank the juice on it as it became more and more popular down the stretch last season. So Esteban Ocon, always someone I'm looking to get invested in. And, shout out to Haas, man, putting in some good work out there on the Formula One circuit. We need to bring that back into the NASCAR realm. But hey, Sheldon Creed's out there still getting dubs as well, or starting to get dubs, I guess, these days.
Yeah, finally getting some dubs. And that might be a stretch too far for Haas this year. But hey, Ocon's won a GP before, and we know Behrman is fast. Yep. So these are two guys in the mid-pack that I really like a lot. What I do really like a lot too, F1 is back, regardless of how you can watch it, regardless of not all 22 cars going to finish the race, knowing that before we even put any cars on track. It's still going to be a good weekend down under, Seth.
Yeah, absolutely will be, man. We'll, of course, be chatting about it all weekend long in the IBT Racing family. Head over there now, in-betweenme.com/chat. Get invested with the chat of our community, of our viewers, our analysts, and the giveaways for absolutely free, no cost. And then if you want to upgrade for $3.99 per month, $36 for the year, you're going to get our weekly betting model for NASCAR. You're going to get our full picks and predictions for all motorsports. And they're also going to be entered in that NASCAR head-to-head contest. And you're going to unlock all the nice benefits we have at the IBT football family, IBT entertainment family, and the IBT golf family as well. So Elliot, it's been just a blast over there, man. We're on our way. Hopefully, I think by May at some point, we'll probably hit triple digits inside that community. So very grateful for that. Everyone who's been hanging out with us there already. And excited to get all three major racing disciplines back on the track here this weekend, my friend.
Yeah, man, that rocks that we're continuing to grow the IBT family. Definitely exciting times over there. Excited to chat with the old night owls there on Saturday night to talk some F1. And thanks to everyone in the family. Thanks to all of you for checking this show out. And we'll see you next time on the Backroad.